Amid the dark ruins, I complete my master's order by eliminating Nan Gong. Scattered corpses form a horrifying scene. My steps lead from the yard straight into the house. A despairing woman pants, questioning her fate. She is inexplicably pierced through by a strong warrior. That man is the blood demon cult lord, who delights only when lives are severed. Yi Hua is shocked by his absurd words. He drives his sword deeper to punish her incomprehension. The blood demon mocks that she is the sole survivor of Nan Gong. He coldly asks if she knows who lies dead at her feet. Then he reveals the terrifying truth: it is her father. He attacks again, saying he abandoned his rank just to hunt that man. His powerful strike shatters the stone floor. Yi Hua recalls the moment he halted his force upon hearing she was the man's daughter. He indifferently claims her fate is shameful, twisting her heart. She ponders how such a cruel man raised her for years. The blood demon laughs, saying he did so only to await this day. He coldly stresses that the Nan Gong bloodline ends by her own hand. He bursts into uncontrollable laughter. His echoing laugh drowns her in guilt. She regrets and grips her sword hilt tightly. Weary, she tells him to stop. The blood demon stops laughing, saying casually that it's enough. He emits dense killing intent, admitting he's lost interest. His blood-red eyes gleam with feral challenge. He slashes down, sending her blood spraying like rain. In her final moment, she blames herself for relying on a tyrant. Her only lingering echo is the mark of the Heaven Annihilation sword. In a dream, she opens her eyes as sunlight pierces through. She lies alone on a familiar bed. Staring at the ceiling, she doubts she is alive. She bolts upright, stunned her fatal wounds were healed. Approaching the washstand, she suddenly freezes. Before the mirror, her face is filled with terror. Her hands touch a 10-year-old child's face, leaving her bewildered. Daytime clamor seeps in, hinting this is an inn. Curious, she opens the door to observe. Downstairs, drunken guests gossip loudly about generous rewards. People say Nan Gong is raising the bounty to find the child once abducted. A drunk scoffs that Nan Gong acted foolishly. Hearing this, she is stunned. She was the culprit, while he laments the child missing 8 years is unlikely to be found. She stands frozen for a few moments. Then she calculates that if raised from age 5, she is now 13. Guests say only a birthmark behind the neck is a clue, making the search hopeless. Her eyes widen, realizing the reversed fate and that she has gone back in time. Changing clothes, she understands the mark on her neck was a disguise to hide the birthmark crafted by the blood demon. She reasons her lost memories were forced by his inner power, yet now she at least knows she belongs to Nan Gong. Looking at her palm, she reminds herself this is a rebirth granted by mysterious arts. Recalling the tragedy she caused, she vows to thwart the blood demon's scheme. Resolve surges as she clenches her fist. She turns her eyes toward the future she wants and decides to return. She immediately sets out for her old home, Nan Gong, the place she once destroyed. Passing a candy house stall, the glossy red catches her eye. Seeing each plump fruit, craving makes her waver. She asks about the taste, leaving the vendor briefly stunned. Time passes quickly as she reaches Lacknam County, the Black Cloud Gang's main base. She knocks hard on the door with urgency. When it opens a crack, she tells him to look down, making the guard ask if she was the one knocking. Holding a candy dog skewer in her mouth, she stands proudly before him. Her attitude irritates the guard, who drives her away, saying they don't serve children. She points and declares she has an appointment with the gang lord, making him think she's mad and courting death. Annoyed, she unleashes force and blasts the door open. After the strike, she stays calm. Judging her current body can muster only that much inner power. The guard shouts, wide-eyed in shock. Terrified, he backs away, unsure what she intends. She walks in leisurely, recalling how she once slaughtered this place in her past life, though now it's unnecessary. Before he can react, something sharp flashes past his face. The candy husk skewer embeds into the wall, and she coldly tells him to listen carefully. She orders him to relay a message to the gang lord. She boldly declares herself the young tower master of Hua Wu Lu. She says she has come to retrieve the item agreed upon. Finally, she bluntly asks for the Great Restoration pill needed to purge the demonic energy in her body. The blood sect's secret art absorbs blood chi, rendering a cultivator's inner power chaotic. She knows bringing that energy back to Nan Gong would mean death, let alone regaining her identity. Killing intent rises as she thinks of the Great Restoration pill, Shaolin's treasured medicine traded to Hua Shan that she must seize. Wherever she steps, guards cower under her pressure, for only with that pill can she cleanse her blood chi. One guard gapes in terror at her aura. She recalls that in her past life she offered the pill to the blood demon, so this time it will be easy. She reminds herself to reclaim it at the same moment as before, and as she halts, a subordinate arrives to greet her. He clasps his hands respectfully and invites the young tower master to follow him inside. He reports the gang lord has been waiting, while she inwardly decides she will act for herself this time. Soon, she sits among the elders and states her identity before the Black Cloud Gang. The gang lord laughs, surprised the famed young tower master as a teenage girl. She returns the courtesy, praising his prestige as exceeding rumors, earning his compliment for her manners. His face then hardens as he criticizes Hua Wu Lu for excessive arrogance. She immediately grasps that the struggle over the Great Restoration pill caused hostility, and though displeased, she must take the blame for her tower master. Scanning the room, she counts the gang lord, 8 elders, roughly 150 men, and several assassins on the roof. She reminds herself she now belongs to the righteous path, so everything is different. She bows an apology on behalf of her tower master, surprising the gang lord with her humility. She promises a generous reception should he visit Hua Wu Lu to ease resentment. The gang lord scowls, asking if she is treating them like beggars. Assassins instantly surge out to surround her, warning her not to choose the wrong path. She calmly replies that many of them are about to die. Provoked, the gang lord roars insults at her. He threatens that she will die as well. The assassins rush in immediately. She leaps up and draws her sword. Her speed vanishes from sight like a tearing gust. A single sharp strike instantly kills 2 men. Another charges, shouting while swinging his blade. She lightly springs aside to evade the slash, then appears behind him, making him cry out in fear. She coldly reminds him she had given them a chance. Her next sword sweep fells 4 assassins in a single breath. The rest descend into chaos, pursuing her, while the gang lord stands frozen, unable to believe what he sees. He is stunned, having mistaken her for a child and thus dropping his guard. Seeing her speed and power, the gang lord instantly changes his view, realizing Hua Wu Lao's reputation is no exaggeration. All subordinates heighten their vigilance, tracking her every move. Though small, each of her sword strikes is deep and lethal, frightening the gang lord as his men fall. Yet, why is she so merciless? Her eyes gleam with cold emptiness. One glance into them terrifies him as if seeing a demon. Amid the chaos, the gang lord shouts for everyone to stop. Panting, he concludes she is no ordinary child but a master who has rejuvenated her body. He instantly changes tone, begging her to sheath her sword. His face trembles in fear. He kneels and offers the item. She finally obtains what she needs and leaves. She tucks it into her robe, inwardly scolding them for not handing it over obediently, as in her past life. She looks up at the dense forest around her, then wonders where best to sit and regulate her chi. She springs up, gaining height, then swiftly travels among the treetops. Suddenly, she notices something unusual. Sensing someone trailing her, she suspects a pursuer. She immediately accelerates, then stops and lands on the ground. She calls out directly for the hidden watcher to show himself. A gentle wind stirs, rustling the leaves. A deep male voice praises her for not rashly drawing her sword. He sits on a branch, smiling that she is quite sharp. Seeing his face, she widens her eyes in shock. He is one of Nan Gong's 3 strongest experts, known as the Storm Thunder God. Leader of the Flying Wind Sword Unit and close to the clan head, he asks who she is with caution. He frowns, warning her to consider her answer carefully, for it determines life or death. Meeting such a grandmaster at this tense moment leaves her flustered. Night wind rustles the leaves as Yu Quan sits calmly above, watching her. Standing below, she is stunned. Why meet this figure now, during secret business? With no retreat, she slowly raises her hands. She clasps them and bows, giving a legendary martial world alias to hide her identity, knowing she must use a name heard in her past life. Yu Quan interrupts. Doubtful. He sneers, finding it absurd she calls him senior when her aura differs from typical juniors. Leaning down, he questions her age, and she admits to being around 13. Arms crossed, he sternly asks why she doesn't even know her own age. She explains memory loss from injuries before age 5. He sighs in exasperation, then suddenly notices an odd mark on her. Yu Quan asks about the scar. She bluntly says she doesn't know its origin. When he presses about her master, she says she apprenticed under the old tower master of Hua Wu Lu. He comments that bond seems nearly severed. She coolly says the other party wants to eliminate what he calls her demonic energy. He warns the pill she carries might become poison, but she insists she must use it to cleanse her inner power. He asks why, puzzled why she must purge such strength. She frankly says returning to her clan with this inner power would mean rejection or even execution. He frowns, asking if she knows her birthplace. She lifts her head and firmly answers, based on a flicker of memory, Anhui, Hefei. In the dark, only wind and rustling leaves remain. Stroking his chin, he muses that Hefei is exactly where the Nan Gong clan resides. He silently sinks into his own thoughts, then suddenly slaps her shoulder, startling her. He says he will give her special assistance this time, and she asks in confusion. Yu Quan happily says he will stand guard while she reforms her inner power. She presses her lips, knowing he suspects she is the lost child and wants to observe to confirm. Inwardly, she curses in irritation. Meanwhile, the Black Cloud gang lord trembles, unable to speak. He despairingly reproaches the masked men for breaking their promise and now threatening him. The masked one coldly asks where the item is hidden. Kneeling, the gang lord stammers that the young tower master took it long ago. The masked man demands her description. He stutters she was just a girl around 10. He sheathes his sword and glances at his comrades, who fall silent in calculation. They exchange cold looks for a moment, then calmly order retreat. In a flash, they dart across the roofs and vanish. The gang lord sits collapsed amid the wrecked room, near fainting. Out of strength, he falls beside a sheet of paper on the floor, sweating profusely. He mutters, young tower master. Old memories return. Yi Hua once warned him to scatter his men because Hua Wu Lu assassins were coming. He questioned why they still attacked. She simply said she no longer belonged to Hua Wu Lu. She explained that soon Hua Shan and Shaolin would strike the gang, and Hua Wu Lu would pretend to help while plotting to seize everything. She presented a paper exposing their true aim to kill the gang lord and swallow the Black Cloud gang, and warned him not to fall into the trap. She pushed the paper before his face, saying it was the last thing he must remember. In 7 days, he must follow its instructions exactly. That is the only way for the gang to survive the encirclement of Huashan and Shaolin. Ending the recollection, he can only lament how terrifying she is. He wonders how many steps ahead she can see. On her side, a breeze lifts her soft, feminine hair. Yu Quan presents the place as his cultivation spot. Dense and hidden, ideal for chi regulation. She politely asks if it is truly okay, making him ask her to repeat. Her eyes shine like autumn water as she asks why he would guard a girl he just met, not even confirmed as Nangong blood. He grows flustered, unsure how to explain. He finally says he despises the filthy inner power she carries. Hearing she wants to cleanse it to return home, he deems it a good and pitiful intention, and that rebuilding her inner power is crucial. When she thanks him, he freezes in surprise. She looks at him sincerely, grateful even for guiding her here. Hearing this, he brightens. He almost pats her head and tells her not to die, but she dodges, saying she can manage, which eases him. He advises her to soften her speech after reforming her power, since she outwardly looks like an unlovable child. He adds she will soon meet her parents, so she shouldn't sadden them with coldness. She fears she might become an odd person. She walks deeper into the cave, answering only that she understands. Yu Quan asks what she likes. She answers instantly, candied haws. Arms folded, he laughs, saying she still has some childishness. He gives a smile filled with hidden meaning, then hopes she will survive to reunite with her family. In the cave, Yi Hua holds a golden orb glowing like fire. She swallows it without hesitation. The cave is silent, save for dripping water, as she sits upright in full focus. She feels pure inner power surging like a vast sea, clashing with her dark, blood-tainted force. Sweat runs down her tense face as she steadies herself. No matter how good the elixir, any misstep could cause chi deviation and death. She pushes herself harder and fiercer. She must erase every trace of blood chi. At maximum exertion, she feels a great wave crashing through her body. Fatigue sets in, and her complexion wavers. The metallic stench of blood overwhelms her mind. She coughs violently, confirming the power was indeed fed by human blood. Red blood spills from her mouth, weakening her and darkening her expression. Though she tries to expel it, the force clings like the blood demon's lingering malice. She vows never to let him control her again. Drawing a deep breath, she continues cultivating, determined to let no one dictate her fate. The night sky is calm, a few stars flickering through rustling leaves. Yu Quan looks up, murmuring that she should have emerged by now. He fears ki reversal, deviation, or blood ki backlash. He blames himself for letting a child attempt inner power reform alone. Just as he hesitates, a noise behind him makes him wheel around. He chuckles lightly, admitting she truly is extraordinary. Yi Hua, dusty but bright-eyed, steps slowly out of the cave. He exhales in relief, saying she has purged the filthy energy, and even he feels lighter. She politely credits his guard work. He hands her a pouch, telling her to take it. She asks what it is. He says it's a survival keepsake and asks if she wants to open it. Observing her closely, he notices she not only cleansed her power but gained some true chi. Transforming excess chi at her age is exceedingly rare. She opens the pouch slowly, then freezes in amazement. He teases that her face shows she likes it. She blushes, takes the candied haws, and thanks him. He replies that he is the one grateful she returned alive. He affectionately pats her head and tells her to go wash. She hasn't touched warm water for 3 days. Then he lifts her in a princess carry and she realizes 3 days have passed in the cave. Cheerfully, he asks if she's hungry. He says hell, take her to Heffy's famous dishes and tells her to hold tight. With that, he channels force so strong it cracks stone. In an instant, they soar upward. Holding her, he glides across treetops like the wind. Light leaps follow one after another. They sweep over the forest canopy like birds, yellow leaves swirling around. Night wind brushes her softly glowing face. Her hair streams in the breeze, eyes sparkling with starlight. A bustling settlement appears below. She recognizes Hefei. Moments later, a full table of steaming dishes lies before her. She widens her eyes in delight, but inwardly she judges. Nothing seems special across from her. Yu Quan slurps noodles loudly, urging her to eat more since he ordered double. She shyly says she just ate candied haws and isn't very hungry. He looks puzzled. Flustered, she turns away, cheeks faintly red. He asks what she thinks is the most common in food. She instantly answers buns and noodles. He affirms such dishes could never become renowned nationwide. She thinks such humble fare can still strike people with sudden insight, as if glimpsing an afterlife. Yu Quan urges her to taste it, saying she'll crave it to tears. She bites into the soft pastry, her eyes lighting up. Yu Quan proudly asks how good it is. Yi Hua can't stop eating. While he watches her fondly, he absent-mindedly pats her head. Yu Quan reminds her to eat slowly and says hell, give her more until she's full. She looks up, cheeks puffed and rice sticking adorably. The scene shifts to drunken youths entering the inn upon hearing of good food. Yu Quan stands on the roof, observing sternly. He asks if his men have cleared out the rats. The subordinate bows and says it's done. They admit the group wasn't weak, but their patterns were unfamiliar to the region. He accepts a cloth and inspects every detail carefully. He sighs, saying they must report to the clan head. The subordinate asks about the child. He orders someone to tail her. She's strong enough not to face small dangers. He is certain he will meet her again in a few days. At Nangong Clan's Tianhu Hall, before the main estate, a hand slams down, tossing out a bounty of 300 gold ingots. A man vents his frustration that 8 years have yielded no trace of the child. This is Nangong Qingshan, third son of Nangong Wutian. Two beside him say the reward is enough to buy a merchant guild. An irritated man cuts in, telling him to speak carefully. He folds his hands, saying if Qing Yun heard this, he'd be heartbroken. Qingshan complains the eldest brother's absence leaves all burden on the second. Someone interjects that they should stop arguing. Clan head Nangong Wutian sits radiating authority. He calls Qingshan, who bows in reply. He admits Qingshan is right. The eldest has spent 8 years searching for his daughter. The other two fall silent since the heir's seat has been empty too long. He asks Qingshan if he bears resentment. He says he only wishes his brother would return. Wu Tian asks back whether, if his own child vanished, he could say such words. Qingshan furrows his brow, imagining losing a child. Could he truly let go? He bows, admitting his shallow thinking. Wu Tian warns him to watch his tongue. He obeys and shrinks back. He concludes the matter, sighing over endless troubles. Wu Tian realizes not only Qingshan is upset with the situation. The atmosphere darkens. Someone is exploiting his temper to plant their own agenda. He taps the chair, pondering that he cannot let dissatisfaction spread. He pauses as news arrives. The child has just entered the clan gate. He looks outward. Every move of Sui Hoa has been seen by Yu Quan. He tilts his head and orders everyone to withdraw. Someone asks about the Flying Wind Sword unit and the child. He laughs, saying the kid is adorable but difficult. The man startles upon learning this is Nangong Wen, the steward. Wen guesses the meeting ended early because of the child. He turns and confirms she has arrived. Shui Hua walks slowly into the hall entrance. Her face is pure like white lavender. Wu Tian freezes upon seeing that visage. Wen recalls the smile of the little girl who once called him uncle. He embraces her warmly, laughing and calling her young lady. Memories flood back, bringing tears to his eyes. Yu Quan quietly warns not to jump to conclusions. Wen wipes his tears awkwardly. He turns away to hide his feelings. Yu Quan observes the girl standing firm without fear. She cautiously casts her gaze toward the hall master. Wu Tian radiates majesty, making her feel as if facing a dragon's claw. She reassures herself he is not an enemy she must fear right now. She bows to present herself to the Nangong clan head. He calls her to come closer. Wen steps forward. Wu Tian asks her name, and she answers Sui Hua. He asks if she is truly the sought child, noting the absence of the birthmark on her neck. She explains her vague memories led her here. He demands more detail about what she remembers. She recalls childhood scenes of a poppy lane and a willow lake. She remembers a big, rough but warm hand, of which she could grasp only one finger. Both men freeze in surprise. Wu Tian finds that detail hard to dismiss. She bows, noting that place exists only in the Nangong clan head's garden. She suddenly remembers her past life intrusion into the hall when poppy-induced illusions appeared. Only after burning the garden did those illusions vanish. She says all memories before age 5 are lost. This is all she recalls. He counters that poppy flowers and a lake aren't rare scenes. He asks whether such fragments are enough to prove she belongs to Nangong. She calmly replies she doesn't know what they want. They wonder what she intends to rely on to prove identity. Since the one sought is Nangong-born, she asks in surprise why she must confirm her own identity. Yu Quan clutches his head in alarm when freezes, thinking they would support her. Wu Tian glares with authority, asking if not that, then what? Wen hastily explains she means no disrespect. Wu Tian smirks. He bursts into hearty, intrigued laughter. She laughs as well, easing the tension. Wu Tian strokes his chin and praises her for hitting the main point. Both breathe easier, knowing identity verification exists but cannot be done yet. He tells her to wait a few days. She agrees brightly. He orders temporary lodging prepared for her. It is Tian guest court, reserved for the highest guests. From the courtyard gate, her silhouette enters. The place has reopened after a year by clan head order. She glances back, curious about the rank of the guest once honored here. DM is stunned to see the guest is just a young girl. The girl wishes to explore alone. He remembers Wen's instruction not to question the guest, surprised she is so young. DM warmly says the court is tended 5 times daily and ready to serve her. She sees the guards posted and feels safer. By the white blooming lotus pond, he notes she hasn't eaten. He assumes she is hungry and offers to prepare food. She turns back with sparkling eyes and agrees. A table of exquisite dishes is set out. She widens her eyes and tries picking one up with chopsticks. The chopsticks tap a strange dish. She is unsure how to eat it. A maid offers help and she reluctantly agrees. The maid gently unwraps the outer leaf. Inside is rice mixed with shrimp and roots, infused with the leaf's aroma. The maid adds that Tian guest court always serves the finest selections. She apologizes for making her talk so much and thanks her sincerely. The maid smiles, asking if the flavor suits her. Her cheeks puff as she eats delightedly. Soon she lies down, clutching her stomach, overly full. She tilts her head in thought. Looking around the room, she reminds herself she truly reached Nangong. The bright courtyard and daily rhythm match her memories. Yet echoes of Nangong, burning red and altered figures including Diem return. She frowns sadly. A memory surfaces of her pointing a sword at dying Wen, demanding the Nangong manual. He shouted that even torn limb from limb he would never betray Nan Gong. While she stood blood-soaked, Shui Hua lunged, screaming she'd rather die. She declared she would pursue vengeance even into hell. She severed his last arm. Her eyes were numb, daring him to see whether he could keep his vow when dismembered. She swung her sword non-stop, blood splattering her, making everything feel meaningless. Shu Hua curled up on the bed. She clenched her fists, uneasy about facing them as if nothing had happened. She frowned, reminding herself that incident was still an unformed future. She comforted herself and drifted into dreams, believing she could still change the ending. In the room, they discussed her meddling in the Hua Shan and Shaolin affair. Wu Quan said the two sects were tied to the Great Rebirth Pill. Far more complicated than expected. He rubbed his temples, saying He Yun Gang was trivial, yet that child had overturned everything. Wu Quan asked how they defeated Hua Shan elites and stole the pill, and Wu Tian thought another force must be involved. He calculated silently. Killing intent spreading. Someone beside him called out, he only grunted in reply. Wen wondered if he had deduced something from such a brief report. Wu Quan grew tense since this concerned two major regions, requiring the clan head's caution. Wu Tian said someone claimed the child looked like him at birth. He said he hadn't seen any likeness then, but now understood, leaving Wen speechless. Wen said she was still too young, and Wu Quan agreed keeping her at TNK Inn was a bit much. Wu Tian raised his teacup, saying even one cup of water could forge soulmates. All the more with blood ties. Wen stammered, asking if he meant. He smiled, saying TNK Inn wasn't excessive, rather, it wasn't enough. Setting down his cup, he asked about investigating Hua Yi Lu. Wen said agents were sent to Yunnan. Wu Tian asked whether the child carried some hidden scheme. Wu Quan folded his arms, unsure, hoping she was innocent. He recalled she was once the young tower master of Hua Yi Lu, unclear if her heart leaned toward Nan Gong. He continued guessing her wish to go home might be a cover, but he slowed, noting abandoning cultivated inner power was an extreme decision he himself couldn't make. He slapped the table, laughing that giving up strength to choose Nan Gong meant she likely had no ill intent. When asked dryly if traveling with her made him fond of her, he denied it outright. He suggested if doubts remained, just ask her directly about Hua Shan. Wu Tian stroked his chin, saying the banquet at TNK Inn was a good chance to probe. He chuckled. Wu Huan muttered he had already said trusting her was fine. Wu Tian laughed, hoping to dine with his granddaughter soon. Shua entered meditation to cultivate. The energy within her surged in circulation. She felt her current inner breath was different, pure and soothing. She estimated a second-rate realm, but far easier to control than the past life's killing aura. She remembered reaching the transformation realm before. So this life would be faster. No, she must reclaim it. She kept absorbing the energy found in the cave. Suddenly, she opened her eyes, realizing without learning Nan Gong's heart method she shouldn't raise inner power. At minimum, she must avoid arousing suspicion from the three in Tianhu Hall. She lamented having to feign ignorance despite past life knowledge. A maid startled when she appeared. She politely asked where she could find a martial hall. The maid offered to take her to a private hall, but she wanted another place. The maid explained TNK Inn guests could use any outer martial hall. She declined an escort, planning to find a place for external training herself. In the quiet courtyard of the guest inn, she scanned around, wanting to blend into a training group rather than practice alone. If she accidentally used Nan Gong's sword arts, she would claim she copied by watching. But letting outsiders see Nan Gong's sword practice even basic was a serious matter. She finally found the place she sought. At the Qilong Squad drill yard, the general called out the first form of the grand sword routine. The trainees focused intently. Each sword move followed the shouted commands. She watched as their loud cries flared with vigor. She judged they were the strategic backbone of Nan Gong, the future driving force of the entire clan. She observed each move, noting steady motions yet lacking sword spirit. Without real combat experience, they fall before even striking. She sighed in disappointment. She took a wooden sword, reminding herself the road of training was long. A sharp shout halted her movement. Ming Zhou demanded why she dared touch the yard's equipment. He said swords weren't toys for children. She glanced at the kids training. He snapped. They were different from her. They had formal training she did not. He guessed she failed the warrior exam, looked like a little maid, and dared sneak in to learn. He yanked the sword from her, saying brats like her were common, and sword skills couldn't be copied. He told her to stay away before she got poked and to return to work. She picked another sword, baffling him. He tried to grab it, but she dodged swiftly. She held the sword high out of reach. He cursed in frustration. He shouted she was insolent and asked who taught her such rudeness. She snorted coldly, scorning his words. She darkened her gaze at him, weary. He froze at her fierce eyes. He clenched his teeth in irritation. She spun and kicked, making him curse her arrogance. Suddenly, his body stalled oddly. Then he toppled to the ground. He gaped as she calmly retrieved the wooden sword. She examined it, concluding this blade fit her better. The trainees snickered, asking why their captain called her obedient when he was now flat on the ground. They teased he must have tripped. Ming Zhou flushed. He barked for her to stop. She turned her head back. He got up, saying, just exchanging a few words already felt wrong. He suspected she used tricks. He charged, demanding to teach her manners. She faced him calmly, accepting. He roared forward. She prepared to meet a few moves. She dodged nimbly. She leapt back, surprising him before he could react. She countered, her blade forcing sweat from him. He raised his sword to block, but she knocked it skyward. The sword spun repeatedly, then planted into the ground before him. He stared at her, and the sword, stunned. The trainees panicked, realizing the vast gap. They said this was no spar at all. She asked if he wanted to continue. She said fine if he did, but this time he must fight seriously with full power. Ming-Jo tightened his grip. He readied himself silently. He resolved to respond. He said he wanted to see her true strength. She noticed his eyes had changed, now assessing her as a real opponent. Nangong had strong individuals. She also heightened her guard. But not everyone in Nangong excelled. A key difference to remember. Nangong warriors, shielded by clan prestige, lacked enemies and easily stagnated. Ming-Jo lowered his head quietly. She lunged, reminding him comfort dulled both mind and blade. She also wanted to see what would happen. She slashed repeatedly, wondering if she could forge them into sharp steel again. Ming-Jo gritted his teeth, parrying her blows. The two clashed fiercely. He shouted with resolve under her stern gaze. She doubted whether they possessed the will to change. The trainees stood still, watching. One trainee sweated in shock at the scene. They saw their captain couldn't land a single move. She silently analyzed each of his sword lines. She struck his hand directly without hesitation. She said overexerting wasn't a good technique. One must know their limits. Speed and angle of attack mattered too. She delivered another heavy blow, forcing him back. He gaped in fear. She pressed him with seamless strikes. Her voice rang out, forcing the body's stiff kill's sword flow. And another thing. She kicked his leg, making him cry out. He scrambled to evade the thrust aimed at him. His vision blurred with dizziness. Her decisive strike came crashing down. Dust burst across the yard. Ming-Jo still clutched the wooden sword. He braced it against the ground for balance, leaving a straight groove. She stepped up, pointing out weak lower stance leads to lost center, and lost center means a fall. He froze at the blade tip near his neck. She said the earth doesn't shake, only you must stand firm. She looked at him, now silent. She sighed inwardly, unsure how much he understood. She turned coldly, saying this place was unfit to train further, and took her leave. He panted after her, unable to grasp who she truly was. His gaze followed her fading silhouette. Dusk settled a quiet veil over the yard. As she walked, she felt everyone's eyes trailing her and regretted not using the private hall. She thought she had advised enough. Their progress was their own burden. She realized she still hadn't fully controlled her strength. She reminded herself she hadn't rested, and this child's body was too weak best to return to the inn. Suddenly, she stumbled. Her body pitched forward hard. She muttered that this was bad. She crashed into a strange man. He gasped in surprise. Wu Quan caught her, calling softly. He noticed her complexion was off. She gently pushed him, saying she was only dizzy. Suddenly, he lifted her, making her yelp in shock. She begged to be put down, but he held her and asked where she planned to go. He smiled mysteriously, making her wonder why a specialist was needed. Elsewhere, jars of medicine filled the room as he brought her inside. He loudly called for a physician. He scolded the lack of anyone tending the shop. He told her to wait. She obeyed. Noting the place brimmed with top-rate herbs, the hall master's skill here truly was supreme. She recalled never meeting this hall master in her past life when Nangong fell. She thought non-bloodline members leaving was only natural. A strange voice cut into her thoughts. The newcomer teased her cuteness, startling her. She widened her eyes at the arrival. A smiling woman stared at her brightly. The woman asked who she was, saying she looked unfamiliar. She added that the earlier cat-like yelp was funny. The girl clenched her teeth, furious to meet this person, the one who once killed with cruel poison arts. She remembered the woman's sinister smile from her past life. Inwardly, she named her Du Yu, the very medicine hall chief of the blood sect. Wu Quan told her to stop babbling and examine the girl. She retorted he didn't even know what the ailment was. She softened and asked to take the girl's hand to check. Shuehua instantly countered, refusing any touch. She stayed on high alert and declined contact. Wu Quan urged her to cooperate to find the illness, but she insisted she was fine. She secretly guessed the woman might be Blood Demon's agent probing her. Wu Quan knelt to apologize for bringing her here without asking first. He praised her skill, and she reminded him he should call her big sister. He kept pleading, saying her lack of sleep and food lately worried him. He promised candied hawthorn if she allowed a pulse check. She turned away, thinking she had countless reasons to refuse, yet got stuck on this trivial matter. She figured no one would suspect anything. With Wu Quan present, the woman wouldn't dare act, so she agreed. Du Yue took her hand, saying it would be a light check. She quietly sensed the girl's pulse. She probed the hidden inner power within her. She continued examining patiently. She asked if the girl felt anything strange, making her tense up. Shuehua suddenly grabbed her throat. The woman winced from the surprise attack. Wu Quan intervened, telling Shuehua to release her. Shuehua darkly claimed she used inner force to harm her, but he explained it was standard Chimeridian diagnosis. She fell silent, saying nothing. Bit by bit, she withdrew her hand from the woman's neck. The woman rubbed her throat, smirking that the girl's claws were sharp. Wu Quan realized her killing reflex far exceeded that of an ordinary assassin. When she struck, she did so like someone long accustomed to countless kills. She turned to leave, saying only she wished to return. All eyes followed the small figure's back. Du Yue sighed she was like a fierce stray cat, and he agreed. He asked for results. She said head, seen her strength already. She said the exam was too short for clear conclusions, but signs suggested she had consumed something unusual. Wu Quan was shocked. She boasted of once serving the Son of Heaven, and he dismissed it, making her chuckle lazily. She told him to bring the kitten again for a deeper exam, startling him. She asked why he was surprised. She felt the girl was like a vessel about to burst. A heavy mood fell as a memory voice asked about blood-sect killings. In the past life, she had replied calmly, asking why the girl brought it up again. She said it was just a hobby, nothing worth fussing about. She said as a member of the 12 Moons, even the blood demon wouldn't fault her. She flaunted her moon badge and blood arts, saying killing a nobody wasn't worth questioning. Shueihua frowned, saying she was merely mentioning it. She asked about rumors the woman was once righteous. The woman forced a smile, asking if that was praise. She asked why she shifted to the demonic path. The woman propped her chin, thinking. Then said, perhaps because someone had wanted her dead. Back in the present, Shueihua wondered whom she was targeting. She quietly gazed at the deep water. She regretted not asking back then, thinking if she had known they'd meet again, she would have. Sunlit ripples shimmered on the lake. A voice behind asked what she was thinking. Nangong Wu Tian smiled, guessing she had some unspoken trouble. She rose and saluted, saying she was only clearing her mind in the garden. He said that was good. He said head heard what happened, startling her. He said a Chi Long squad youth had swung his sword at her too competitive. She bowed, saying to let it go since she wasn't hurt. Just a wooden sword. But he reminded her a sword-bearer must take responsibility before swinging it. She calmly noted the boy lacked composure and emphasized she was not afraid. Strength wasn't only inner power. Wu Tian smiled approvingly. His lips curved in smug satisfaction. He softly said he once wished she were his granddaughter. He said she wasn't like ordinary children, her killing aura too heavy. He had clearly seen the bloodstains and resentful chi clinging to her. He hoped his real granddaughter would grow up peacefully, untouched by war. She asked if that was necessary. He affirmed it was. One must know the culprit to judge the crime. The one who made her this way would not die easily. Even crushing or burning them wouldn't quell his anger. He swore not to spare anyone who caused her pain. She hesitated, about to say something. She asked, what if she wasn't truly his granddaughter? He silently stared deep into her eyes. His hand tightened on his sword hilt. He drove the blade hard into the ground. He looked at her with irritation. He said she was still too young to break fate. She joked whether the sword was named Tian Ming. He nodded. He recalled how she once held his hand around the house, barely half the sword's height. He invited her to dinner tomorrow. Had heard she liked good food. He would prepare many dishes she favored. She touched the spot he had patted, still flustered. She softly agreed. Night fell and demonic chi leaked around Nangong. Even the calm lake rippled with unrest. The aura seeped through every room. A maid on watch also sensed something odd. She turned back, softly calling the young lady. The demonic chi shot towards Shua's room. The bleak black haze clung to her body. She suddenly snapped her eyes open. A spectral voice commanded her to rise. It urged her to go out, kill all, and stain the land with their blood. The sword in her hand emitted icy killing intent. The maid's silhouette appeared at the door, calling her. Shueihua stepped forward, ready to draw her sword. The demonic chi kept goading her to offer everyone's blood. Wu Quan quietly urged Wu Tian to soften his words. Wu Tian still talked of rending bodies, making Wen intervene. Despite Wen's efforts, Wu Quan still teased, putting Wu Tian in a bind. He hid behind a scroll, muttering he only wanted to reassure his granddaughter. Wen sighed that he was lucky she wasn't frightened. Wu Tian retorted at least he wasn't the type who only reported and flattered. Wu Quan was hit but argued he couldn't pretend ignorance. Wu Tian suddenly sensed a looming omen. Wen asked what was happening. He murmured something abnormal was spreading, a reek of blood. Just then, small footsteps rushed through the corridor. The maid startled at being discovered. She quickly bowed. Wu Tian ignored etiquette, eyeing the blood on her clothes and asking whose it was. She clutched her clothes, unable to answer. She reported she met the young lady and got the blood of an honored guest on her. Shueihua said casually she hurt herself while practicing. She apologized for worrying him. Wu Tian said a barrier was set, so she should tell the truth. But she insisted it was only a slip with the wooden sword. He gently lifted her arm to bandage it, seeing blood still seeping. He said he trusted her and hoped she'd trust him too. While she stayed in Nangong, he would protect her. She looked at him and softly said she understood. As they spoke, Wu Quan whispered that the medicine hall master had arrived and should handle it. Wu Tian stood and reminded her of tomorrow's dinner. She held her injured arm, watching him fade from sight. She thought he certainly knew this wasn't an accident. How long would he stay silent, and could she ever explain? When she woke, she had gripped her sword. If he hadn't cut her hand in time, the spilled blood would have been someone else's. The voice in her mind was the blood demon controlling her. Infuriatingly, only one person could identify the spell clinging to her. Just then, Mai Lin peeked in, calling little kitten, "I'm coming in." Mai Lin smiled warmly, while she herself thought of one single answer. A light medicinal scent spread through the small room. Mai Lin soothed that she had lit pain relief incense, but it might still sting. She must speak up if it hurt. Wu Quan leaned at the door, worried, replying yes. While treating the wound, Mai Lin praised her toughness. She whispered back. She said she had injuries elsewhere and asked for further examination. Hearing that, Wu Quan jumped in, asking where. She said her stomach. He panicked and rushed to check. She added it was from chest down to abdomen. The room fell silent, and he realized she wanted him to leave. Helpless, he slipped out. Alone with Mai Lin, she said she suspected internal injury and asked for diagnosis. Mai Lin asked cautiously, as it required using inner force. Shueihua nodded immediately, surprising her with such quick consent. Mai Lin wrapped her arm. Pleased she trusted her somewhat. She reassured her and prepared to begin. Soft light spread through the room, both focused intensely. Shueihua suddenly asked about one's carrying killing aura, drawing Mai Lin's attention. Mai Lin feigned innocence, but Shueihua demanded a straight answer. She admitted she had, and that person was now dead. Shueihua pressed, and she told the truth. Shueihua asked for the reason. She said because that person harmed the one she loved. Shueihua asked about her current feelings. She laughed mysteriously and dodged. Shueihua asked if that person was in Nangong. She halted her inner force, saying the answer was both true and false. Shueihua nodded, saying that was enough. From what she heard, Shueihua concluded she held no vendetta or loyalty toward the blood demon, nor wished harm on Nangong. At least she could love, unlike the cruel woman of the past life. Shueihua thought tensely. As Mai Lin was about to leave, Shueihua called her true name Shui Wangdu. She was startled, while Zhueho faintly hoped her future would differ from the past. Shueihua met her gaze, advising she best side against the blood demon. Memories spilled of a village dyed red by the second prince because a woman defied him. Only one child survived. That child later entered the palace as a medic, and the second prince was poisoned. The title Blood King of Poison faded from rumor. How did she then reappear in Nangong? Mai Lin, confused, asked her meaning. Shueihua said she wasn't prying into her past. She only remembered how in the past life she had chattered endlessly and annoyingly. Shueihua extended her hand, saying her request was simple. Examine her body one more time, because she was under a primal curse. The room fell into silence. After checking, Mai Lin exclaimed it was suggestion magic. Shueihua repeated it. She explained it was a mind manipulation art, forcing obedience. Two ways: break it, kill the caster, or surrender fully, then rebel from within. She woke today only because the caster wasn't nearby. A weak link was easy to sever, a strong one was extremely dangerous. Next morning she walked, remembering the caster could summon her anytime. Someone observed from afar, reminding her she remained in his grasp. If she ignored the warning, he would come personally. She had tried many paths, but waiting might be too late. She wondered if she should flee into the mountains, but knew Wu Quan's men watched everywhere. The sound of training caught her attention. She stepped over to see who it was. A tall youth was practicing swordwork intensely. She paused. He could do things her child's body couldn't. More importantly, he was a potential ally. She hesitated as she watched him. He swung with smooth, practiced lines. Even the wind followed his blade. He wiped lingering sweat, then exhaled with firm resolve. He closed his eyes to recall. In his mind, her silhouette appeared. Remember that moment. Memories of their close combat clash returned. When she warned him to prepare, she rushed in like wind. He dodged but felt heavy-hearted seeing the strike, yet unable to block. She brought her blade down. He instinctively raised his arm. He blamed himself for unsteady footing. His tensed muscles froze him. He attacked on instinct instead of reading hers. Yes, finally. His sword had wavered from the base. One strike from her snapped the wooden blade. He watched the pieces fall, helpless. His hands clenched in self-reproach. He knew he only lacked real combat experience. Now, his sword slipped from his hand again. He realized he was weaker than he thought, and felt disappointed in himself. He stood and brushed off dust. Looking up, he saw someone standing there. It was Shueihua, quietly watching. She stood silently. He startled, recognizing her. He bowed, but she told him to act naturally like yesterday. He grew more embarrassed, apologizing for mistaking her for a maid, while she said he was the rude one, humiliating him further. She introduced herself as Yi Hua. He replied as Nangong Jibing. She approached, noting his sharper swordwork, and asked which opponent he was imagining. He looked dejected, but she instantly saw the imagined foe was herself. She said that was better than soulless swordwork. Strength required an enemy's shadow. He bowed in thanks. She turned, saying understanding was enough. He called after her, asking how long she'd stay in Nangong. She said uncertain, maybe longer. She waited for his next question. He asked to learn from her while she remained. He politely asked again if she would teach him. He said just watching her practice was enough, and she agreed immediately. Still stunned, he asked again. She sighed and confirmed. She asked if she could choose the training place. He agreed and asked where. She decided on tomorrow, at Mao Hour. She specified the training hall of TNK Hall. He stiffened. He was shocked training there meant she wasn't ordinary. He realized the guest stirring all of Nangong was actually her, while she smiled, hoping to learn together. The air quieted as water trickled by the hexagonal pavilion. She lifted her dress lightly and walked with poise. Her new look and clothes made her appear a gentle young maiden. Wu Tian called her over and told her to sit comfortably. He said the servants had withdrawn, so she needn't be shy. She sat and thanked him. He handed her a bowl, telling her to eat. She accepted with both hands, surprised by the high-grade medicinal food. He asked if the wounds still hurt. She calmly said she wasn't sensitive to pain. He worriedly asked what she meant by that. She ate a few bites, then said she nearly died at 5. She explained someone forcefully transferred inner power to save her, costing her memory and pain sense. Her cheeks flushed from the delicious food, joking her face glowed from eating only premium dishes. Vo Tian suddenly reveals the savior of Lu Master Hua O Lu. His face hardens with stern resolve. She replies coolly, questioning his reason for rebellion. She stares back, saying that person drove her to death's brink. Shua Hua warns that Nan Gong cannot possibly win now. He frowns, she insists. Yet he still wants to act on his own. She explains the danger if the three top experts appear. She notes that even killing half their leaders risks his life. He asks about 5. She clarifies they can only take down Hua Olu, not its master, disappointing him. He scowls and urges her to go on. Shua Hua gently sets down her cup and asks their identities. She draws sharp, neat strokes on a stone slab. Near completion, the form emerges as a forbidden glyph. She touches her neck, hinting at a binding curse. Vo Tian leaps up in shock. He sweats as he grasps the meaning of the seal. He freezes, realizing it's a life-reaping art. Speak it and die. The foes are no trivial beings. Shui Hua's voice warns of an impending blood array. He trembles more, for none know this force. She says someone hides it on purpose. Vo Tian bows, whispering of possible traitors. She asks whether he still trusts her. He hesitates, then asks why she returned to Nan Gong. She says to prevent its collapse. Deepening his doubt, she lifts her head, claiming she belongs to Nan Gong. He nods faintly, swallowing a stifled sigh. He says he must see how she will save Nan Gong. He solemnly vows to stop any harmful act. He pauses deliberately before continuing. She listens as he says her goal must be Nan Gong's protection. A radiant halo flares before her, stirring her heart. His aura stands like a towering mountain, vowing to shield her. He repeats his promise for certainty. Meanwhile, at Huang Lak Kunming, Hua O Lu, Shui Ma stands by the window, mentioning Feng Lei Shen. He wonders why Yi Hua obeys subordinates who claim to serve Feng Lei Shen, and she knows yet ignores it. Shui Ma touches his chin, suspicious since that memory should have been erased. Po Yue proposes discreet elimination. He asks back, and is told the kid rebelled and stole from him. He sneers, saying the kid cannot escape and will return on its own. His cryptic smile makes Po Yue doubt his plan to reclaim one who killed comrades. Shui Ma says a few small lives are worth trading for that brat. He asks for Po Yu's view. She bows, saying she wouldn't dare oppose him. He passes by, ordering to let the kid run free until time. Then he changes his mind, wanting to watch the prey live. Amused, he commands a special gift prepared for it. A shimmering water scene forms over the still lake. Mylin performs a verification art for Shua Hua. Finished, she bows formally to Shua Hua. She reports to Vo Tian, the forbidden seal is deeply carved, just as he thought. He asks how to remove it. She says only its creator can. Shua Hua says the seal will fade with time. She adds that when the enemy emerges, the seal will break as their name will shake the world. Vo Tian reminds her it's life and death. She promises caution. He pats her head, asking if there's more. Mylin says her pain sense is suppressed, extremely dangerous for a martial cultivator. He closes his eyes in thought. He thinks lacking pain sense will wreck her survival instincts in a killing world. He rises and asks what else is unsaid. She answers her bloodline is unstable since her inner force was once expelled. Vo Tian gazes at her in deep thought. He sets a hand on her shoulder, telling her to sit for meridian inspection. Blue chi flows from his hand into Shui Hua. Gradually, the blue light engulfs her, startling her. The light coils like a dragon and gathers before her chest into a red sphere. All the blue energy funnels into that core. After a moment, he opens his eyes. His gaze turns solemn toward her. He says she endured a long path to return here. He softens, recalls 8 years of hardship, and welcomes her home. She wishes she had seen her father strong again. Filled with regret, a loud shout startles her. The newcomer reports he hasn't informed the clan head yet. Vo Tian stands. Annoyed, he rushed in at the wrong time. Wen calls loudly to invite the eldest young lord. A finely dressed man hurries in. Shui Hua looks up, her heart fluttering. A tear drops onto the tiles. Qing Yun stares, crying as he recognizes the child once thought killed by her hand. Their eyes meet, shaking Nan Gong for a moment. She flushes, hearing her chaotic heartbeat. Vo Tian tells him to stop crying and verify. He bows in obedience. Qing Yun kneels level with her, asking to confirm markings. She asks why. He smiles, explaining enemies once swapped children to threaten the clan. He says he engraved ID marks on her body at birth. Behind her neck is a cluster of moles forming a hidden dragon shape. He recites other identifying points on her body. Qing Yun removes his shoes and lifts her foot to check the final mark. He clearly sees the mole on her left heel. He falls silent for a moment. Everyone holds their breath. From Vo Tian to Mai Lin, all watch tensely. Qing Yun goes still in the courtyard. Then he bursts into tears at Shui Hua. He embraces her, choking as he accepts his daughter. He calls her name as if fearing to lose her again. He whispers. She lightly grips his robe. She hugs back, stunned by the reunion. Inside, she changes into sleepwear while he tends her injured feet. He aches at the many unhealed tears. She lowers her face. He smiles gently, saying he blames nothing and only rejoices she lives. She laughs and cries, unable to comprehend him. Then she hears him softly call her name. He asks if she knows why she was named Shui Hua. He recalls her mother holding her on a snowy day when a heaven-sent flower fell. Their family was once whole. The name is her mother's memory. That woman loved her boundlessly. He notes she likely has no memory of her mother, but her mother's love remains, from 8 years ago until now. He folds his arms and smiles. She replies she's glad to be home. He asks if she wants to stroll the city tomorrow. She's surprised. He wants her to see Hefei, where she grew up. She secretly prefers training. But when he mentions her old favorite candy shop, she resolves to fulfill her duty as Nan Gong's daughter. She softly agrees at once. At the second young lord's manor, in Qing Hai's pavilion, a lone lamp lights the silent room. Qing Hai practices calligraphy. Noting the honored guest is just a girl, Hulak confirms the news has been cross-verified many times. He writes while pondering that her identity is hard to gauge and TNK Yard rarely yields rooms. Qing Hai adds ink, guessing she has high martial skill. Hulak says her inner force isn't first-rate. He still suspects she might be a hidden master. Hulak says no conclusion yet. He laughs, saying there's other amusing news. Qing Hai's brush stops when he hears eldest young lord is with that guest. His face darkens, suspecting his shikshun has returned. Hulak avoids answering, watching his reaction. A smear of ink appears as he jolts. His shikshun shouldn't return for 3 days, yet is now with the guest. Qing Hai's expression sinks, thinking his elder brother has come to seize power. Seeing the smudge, he recalls their father wanted the elder to inherit while he was only temporarily backed. Hulak reassures him things may not be as he fears. He adds, servants saw eldest young lord, cherishing the guest, even carrying her through the garden. Qing Hai gradually realizes who the girl is. He considers the possibility that Shui Hua has been found. Hulak softly utters, second young lord's name. Hulak says eldest young lord will surely return to claim his rightful position. Qing Hai frowns, hearing urges to act first. Has promised support from 3 armed squads. Outside, a heavy landing kicks sand everywhere. Mingzhou lies panting, saying he can't take it. Shui Hua asks if he's whining over just 50 jin. He protests his whole body weight adds up to several hundred jin. He complains he can't use inner force and must practice sword. She asks if Nan Gong never trained like this. He pushes himself up in protest. She sighs at his weakness. He denies it furiously. She bluntly notes his sword drops, stance wobbles, and only his size is notable. He breaks, collapsing like a noodle. She asks how long he'll stay down. He raises a hand to stop arguing. He struggles up, saying he understands and will continue. Drenched in sweat, he says he can still train. Later, hands shaking with the sword, he regrets his earlier bravado. Even basic posture wavers. He stabs while whining, unchanged despite long practice. Ming Zhu's trembling hands grip the wooden sword. He shuts his eyes in despair, about to collapse. Suddenly, his body halts. Ming Zhou is stunned. He looks back, feeling suddenly lighter. Shui Hua touches the sword, asking if it feels lighter now. She uses a single finger to tap the blade. He marvels as if weight vanished, asking what she did. She explains she dispersed the load across his whole body. She steps closer, saying he has strength but wasted in one burst. Standing before him, she says for sustained fighting his momentum must steady no reckless charges. Behind her seems the gaze of a hunting beast against stronger foes. Patience matters. He listens, realizing his body must offload weight to sustain power. He focuses on distributing force evenly per her guidance. She releases the sword and ends the session, making him faceplant. Prone, he gasps in misery, then forces himself up. He clasps hands in thanks, saying she let him glimpse the realm he seeks. She checks on him. He bows, saying the drill is necessary and surprisingly effective. She smiles, telling him once used to it he must lift 50 jin with one hand. He shakily asks how much she lifts. She says about 300 jin. He reels at her superhuman strength. She adds anyone wanting training tomorrow can join. More people boosts morale. He confirms. She plants a hand on her hip and nods, calling this Nan Gong's foundation. He secretly admires her, thinking she reached the human sword unity realm, while she worries how weak the others will be. He imagines this as a rare chance for outer strongmen to improve together. Excited, he vows to bring many. She waves, telling him to bring them all. He shouts assent and runs after her. The bustling street echoes with vendors' cries. Xing Yun and Shu Hao emerge into the crowd. He holds her hand, warning to stay close. She obeys. He asks what she wants to eat. She lowers her head to think. After a moment, she suggests a place she knows is good. Xing Yun is slightly surprised by her suggestion. Soon they're seated before steaming bowls of fragrant noodles. Xing Yun indulges her and praises the dish, saying it's been ages since he enjoyed it. Shui Hoa offers him a bun, stunning him as emotion rises. He accepts the plate and gently thanks her. The girl happily eats her noodles. Tasting the first bite, she beams, finally knowing why Feng Lei Shen loved this place. She wonders why she'd never seen this shop before. Seeing her eat and smile, he pats her head, telling her to eat more to grow strong. Suddenly, a roar erupts inside, making him turn. A hulking man smashes things, cursing the owner over unpaid debts while his lackeys laugh. The owner pleads for him to settle so he can keep the shop running. Triggered by something said, the thug kicks a table and grabs the owner's collar. The owner trembles, saying the man is a Nan Gong fighter. Qing Yun's face darkens. Before finishing, the owner is flung into the wall in pain. The brute squats, mocking that they guard Hefei, so they deserve respect. The owner quivers, saying this isn't the first time. The thug roars again, insisting he simply forgot money. His shout freezes the shop. No one dares speak. The gang lines up to intimidate, forcing the owner to bow. Helpless, he softly agrees again. Hearing this, the thug laughs wildly. His arrogant laughter fills the shop. The gang leaves, taunting they'll bring real money next time and thanking sarcastically. As the door closes, heavy silence lingers. The owner's son rushes to help him, worried. He wants to report to officials, but his father shakes his head, saying authorities won't confront Nan Gong. Having seen all, Qingyun stands. He smiles gently, telling Shui Hua to keep eating and stay put. Chewing. She watches him, thinking he's pretending he clearly stationed guards to keep her from following. Dutiful. She stays, eyes tracking him, certain he'll handle those men. She wonders how harsh the punishment will be. As the shop livens again, Qingyun returns, saying he took them back to the clan for self-examination. Calmly drinking tea, he adds he docked 3 months' pay to compensate the owner. Shui Hua, surprised, asks more. He replies, "What now?" She blurts why he didn't cut hands or tongues, stunning him. She explains that abusing martial arts costs a hand, shaming the clan costs a tongue. She thinks if it were blood sect, punishment would be harsher, but Nan Gong is righteous. Qingyun says he can't cripple them, they'd no longer live as martial men. She pokes her bun, saying that is true punishment. Patiently, he explains they must get a chance to repent. She answers half-heartedly. Her displeasure worries him. He studies her, weighing something. Leaving the shop, she gets more snacks, her hair tied up adorably. A vendor invites them to view a beautiful new bracelet. Qingyun asks if she wants to see it mid-bite. She says he already bought her a hairpin. He laments he bought too little. She reminds him of shoes and rings, yet he insists the bracelet suits her. She feels both touched and helpless, whispering inwardly that it's troublesome. He waits expectantly. She replies, "Father," and he instantly answers, "Yes." She makes a cute face and says she needs the restroom, asking where it is. She returns to the inn room, realizing even a small parlor is enough for her plan. With the simple space, she easily sets it up, then opens the window to exit. Standing on the sill, she gauges how long before guards notice. Recalling the imposters earlier, she decides to strike before they act. Scanning the inn, she quickly spots guards at the gate and ground floor. There are ambushers on the roof too. She notes the rear path will avoid their sightlines. Done thinking, she leaps out the window and bolts. She leaves only a short note for her father and vanishes. At the eatery, 3 men fret over being found by He Long Dezu. They watch and wonder why a market girl emerged from that shop. The skinny one feels guilty they freeloaded too long, so capture is fair, angering the fat one whose food was insulted. The skinny one urges silence, but the fat one brushes it off, fearless. He mutters whether the inn will get compensation. The skinny one reassures that Nan Gong values face. The fat one hesitates, rambling about wages, then is stumped by a retort. They hide tight against a wall out of sight. The skinny one readies an escape plan, just scare the owner so he won't report them to Nan Gong. Hearing this, the fat one agrees. They try peeking into the shop, but a pillar blocks view. Suddenly, a cold voice behind asks what they're doing. The skinny one tries to turn, but he realizes he's completely immobile. Shui Hua has sealed all their acupoints and even muted their voices. She scans to confirm all 3 are subdued. She calls out softly. She recites each of their names, making them blanch. Even San Feng is called out. Shui Hua icily questions why they bear the Nan Gong warrior title. She exposes that they use their rank to rob under the guise of changing fate. She recalls clearly they once followed Xuanzhao, then slid into theft. She confirms inwardly they're incorrigible and bound to betray anywhere. She states outright that giving them redemption is a waste. The 3 tremble, thinking she'll execute them on the spot. She pauses, then declares she'll spare them since they still bear Nan Gong's name. The skinny one sighs in relief, assuming she fears Nan Gong's authority, so hell live. Suddenly, a blue cloth is stuffed into his mouth. She strikes a neck point hard. He swallows the cloth in panic. The other 2 swallow similar items, clueless about them. She says coldly that sparing life doesn't mean freedom. Her slight squeeze makes them shudder. She warns that a tiny move from her can end all 3 lives. The skinny one guesses it's a parasitic poison worm. She explains it's a paired creature. If one feels pain, both suffer, sharing a single fate. He knows the danger, yet wonders if it's real or a bluff, leaving the fat one even more confused. She reads their doubt and threatens to kill one as a demonstration. The 3 panic so badly their thoughts scatter, making her laugh at their fragility. Bored of scaring them, she turns away, saying today's punishment ends here, see them next time. She orders them to stay silent until then. Her threat still hangs over their heads. Her eyes and low voice make the thieves tremble like pups. Sweat drenches all 3 faces. Even after she's far gone, they remain frozen in fear. Their only thought, when will the meridian seal be undone? At the eatery, a guard worries since there's been no sound from her. He prepares to check inside and asks permission to open the door for safety. Just then, Shui Hua suddenly swings the door open from within. Her face is calm as if nothing happened. The guard quickly finds an excuse to slip away, pretending to search for a lost purse. Hez still puzzled by the silence, while Qingyun laments how worried he was. He approaches, ignoring the guard, asking if she handled everything. She replies obediently, apologizing for making him wait. Qingyun smiles and tidies her clothes. Meanwhile, thick fog shrouds a distant mountain. At its heart lies a vast, secluded manor. In a curtained room, an elder reports circulating news. From his words, we learn the former junior master of Hua now stole the Great Rebirth Pill. That elder, Liu Bai of Yuashan, recounts the child fleeing to Nangong. He presents evidence, noting the pill fell into He Yun Gang, who once ambushed them. He urges the sect leader to reclaim the pill before the child uses it. After silence, the figure behind the curtain finally speaks. The first question challenges Liu Bai why trust such convenient news. Liu Bai realizes the rumor is too detailed and perfectly timed, very suspicious. But the figure says they have no other options. The one behind the curtain agrees and ends the discussion. Their target is a youth practicing fists outside, soon to be sent to Nangong. He seems to sense someone speaking about him. In an illusion, his legs hang suspended as blood drips onto red ground. Shui Hua struggles in a nightmare, bound by red cords. She forces her strength, snapping them apart. The bindings tear bit by bit. She crashes down in the dream. She jolts awake, gasping by the door. A porcelain jar behind her lies shattered. She checks her wounds. Blood from her hand drips beside the shards. In the dark, a worried voice says, "This is troublesome." Mai Lin examines the wound, saying she hid the mine attack. But in this state, it's hard to conceal. Shui Hua says she'll reveal everything, stunning Mai Lin. A voice in her mind mentions the Blood King poison, draining her color. Mai Lin startles, but Shui Hua assures her it's sound transmission, unheard by others. Mai Lin frowns, saying Shu Hua is unpredictable, more tiger cub than cat, while Shu Hua averts her gaze from her bandaged hand. Chin in hand, Mai Lin teases that she has good news the tiger cub will like, making Shu Hua focus at once. Mai Lin reports the clan head will personally perform the punishment spear purifying hands right for her, lighting Shu Hua's eyes. She doubts whether it's a grand interforce infusion. Mai Lin laughs, confirming it's the right to purify and open her meridians. Shu Hua is pleased that the clan head knows her blood channel condition and even checked whether it could harm her. Shui Hua blushes, hands clenched before her chest in shyness. Fat Mo Te Thu is a profound interforce, right to alter the recipient's physique. She worries that a mistake could endanger even the practitioner. She reflects that being granted this by a master feels like heaven's blessing. She recalls the tall man, knowing shared bloodline boosts its effect and her youth makes a breakthrough to first-rate likely. Her cheeks redden more, thinking she may surpass even her past life. Mai Lin suddenly speaks, startling her for being too openly delighted. Mai Lin teases she hides emotions terribly. Shui Hua turns away embarrassed. Being called an adorable tiger cub makes her lips curl slightly. Soon, she changes clothes, smooths her hair, and pouts denying she's cute. Climbing the stairs, she recalls maids praising her looks and feels puzzled. She quickens pace, wondering if all Nangong people are this odd. She halts and looks up. Before her is a lit room hosting the family banquet. Inside, boasting voices brag about disciplining those men, hoping for praise. A man advises his son to curb his temper. Qing Shan grumbles about not consulting his Shixiong. Another scolds Qing Hai for always being contrary. Hearing them, Shui Hua grows pensive. The voices match those who once harmed her. She wonders if she can truly become part of this family. Wu Jun speaks behind her, asking why she still stands outside. He smiles, telling her to come in without hesitation. She answers she was listening to the laughter inside. Clenching her hands, she admits she's never eaten with a real family, so it feels strange. Though she treated blood cult members as kin, she knows that place held only scheming and killing, not real bonds. She clasps her hands, hesitating as she thinks of losing a family. She adds that when a family breaks, everyone suffers, stunning Wu Jun. He calls her kid and looks at her puzzled face. Then he flicks her forehead hard. The flick sends her stumbling back. She widens her eyes in shock. He scolds her angrily for pondering such old-sounding nonsense. She holds her aching forehead. Trembling, she softly says, she was just thinking. He grumbles, she should train instead. He states sternly, only by becoming strong can she protect loved ones, confusing her. He adds she must protect herself first, why return injured every time? She avoids his gaze. Seeing her bandaged hand, he says the hand is a swordsman's life like this. None will let her assist. He growls hell personally watch over her from now on. She startles, answers, then bolts. Near a dark eve, she reminds herself to stop sinking into guilt as he said. Looking at the doorway and maids, she steadies herself. She can't change the past, only move forward. As the door opens, she braces herself. Qing Yun is already smiling. Vo Tian also smiles warmly. Before the banquet, Shui Hua sees Qing Shan stunned while Qing Yun introduces Nan Gong. He turns toward her. She smiles calmly, thinking of the chaos within Nan Gong she intends to change. She bows deeply to the elders. She beams and introduces herself as Shui Hua. Qing Hai warmly greets her, saying she recalls his childhood and has endured much. He tells Xiao Long to greet his older by half-heir sister. Xiao Long feels annoyed as the clan's eldest grandson now has a rival. He turns away and gives a cold greeting. The woman urges the child beside her to greet her. Yang smiles, saying he's heard much about her and is glad she's back. She gently thanks the boy. Qing Shan is excited that the guest at the celestial guest house is actually her. He pats his chest, recalling carrying her as a child, while Lan Shi tears up with joy at her safe return. She praises her for becoming a lovely young lady. Then Lan Shi introduces her daughter Hua Lan with sparkling eyes. She urges Hua Lan to greet her, making the girl blush and hide. She apologizes for the shy girl. Sue Hua says it's fine and they'll adjust living together. A tiny hand reaches for a gourd-shaped candy. Hua Lan timidly offers the candy stick to Shue Hua. Lan Shi says the girl wants to gift her, and Shue Hua accepts it. Hua Lan blushes and hides behind her mother. Wu Tian laughs in satisfaction, deciding to announce Shue Hua's return tomorrow and orders all to honor her. Lan Shi agrees. Qingshan boasts he'll carry her again, and Hua Lan nods brightly. He jokes about being ready to lose all his hair, but Lan Shi playfully hits him, making all laugh as Wu Tian sips tea, noting everyone is present. He sets his cup down and shifts to the morning's serious matter. Sternly, he declares he'll perform the punitive spear purification rite for Xue Hua. The room sinks. Qingyun is shocked. He pulls her over, asking if it's the rite she thinks it is. She confirms, while Qingyun wonders why another version exists. Qinghai immediately objects, calling it too dangerous. He fears any mishap could doom their Nangguang pillar of the clan father. Wu Tian narrows his eyes, asking if he doubts his strength. Qinghai insists he only fears accidents. He snaps that fear achieves nothing. Qinghai realizes his father decided without asking anyone. He broods at Xiao Long, knowing this also pushes inheritance further from him. Qingshan asks if this counts as a congratulatory gift, and whether the child agrees. Wu Tian says bluntly she survived 8 years, he has full right to give her the best. He argues the patriarch downplays a right deemed a heaven fate. Wu Tian asks what binds Nangguang blood stronger than lineage. Qingshan angrily demands the right for them and Hua Lan too. Wu Tian's face darkens as he rises. He coldly rebukes him for letting greed cloud wisdom. Qingshan freezes, speechless. Wu Tian ends the meal and tells Xue Hua to follow. She stands, and everyone calls her, making her look back. The air grows heavy, each hiding their thoughts. At the door, she stops and looks back. She understands this truly is a clan battlefield. Outside, she quietly asks if she's causing disorder. On the bridge, Wu Tian asks why she worries. She says they seem unwilling to accept her. He gently says they think him heartless, for since Qingyun left, he hasn't discussed succession or nurtured the children's inner strength. He laments each child is either scheming or rude, none bearing sky-like breath. She tilts her head, puzzled by the shift to heaven and earth. He asks if she knows why the Nangguang liken themselves to the sky. She sighs yes and listens. She recalls Nangguang warriors bloodied, dying rather than yielding, giving lives for the clan. Back then, seeing bodies fall, she felt only cold indifference. Now by the lake, arms crossed, she wonders why they would devote themselves so. She guesses it's the sky-colored inner force, but Wu Tian asks how if there were no blue. He says she's ordering things wrong, startling her. He explains people's aims differ, so inner force colors shift even with shared cultivation. He raises his hand in moonlight. Twilight Seekers glow orange, Night Chasers black will shapes color. Clenching his fist as if holding the moon, he says all hues form one sky, living for integrity and light. He teaches the doctrine of acting with heaven, guided by justice. With trusting eyes, he declares this is Nangguang's chivalrous spirit. He tightens his fist, stressing integrity and righteous path are Nangguang's core. Gazing afar, he laments the youths lack this temperament, and she senses his long worry. She studies him, realizing Wu Tian carries sky-like grandeur. Seeing his back, she feels awe majestic, yet guiding with strength. She wonders if such ideals are truly feasible. Letters, torn talismans, poisons, betrayal, vile tricks flash in her mind. Then the clan burning when Nangguang once fell to the blood sex plot. She rests her hand on the rail, saying a straight tree snaps easily. She asks whether a broken tree can rise again. Wu Tian pauses without answering. Stroking his chin, he says head rather, let it break than bend. She wonders if bent lasts longer, survival is enough. He taps her forehead, saying spirit is what matters. Roots interweave a tree, snapped regrows. But a bent one weakens and dies soon. He softens, saying keeping the core spirit is enough. A breeze brushes her hair. He says a day will come when it sprouts again. Her hand stays fixed on the rail. She recalls dying in blood when Nangguang fell, unsure if his words were right. Xue Hua, cold beneath dense leaves, wonders if a frail sprout can resist the blood sect. Peaceful Nangguang Yan Bing appears in her mind with drifting leaves. Back in the present, she stands quietly beside Wu Tian looking down. Xue Hua grows distant, as if asserting something. Gazing at the minor halls, she senses the steadfastness of those who kept clan secrets the blood sect could never break. Wu Tian asks her view. He confides, asking if she wishes to live as a Nangguang. In a low voice, he'll announce her return unless she chooses to stay hidden. She meets his gaze, noting that identity makes her the focus of an 8-year hunt. She imagines scrutiny everywhere, every act judged and imposed upon. He fears she can't bear that pressure. She denies it coldly. Xue Hua turns back, affirming she belongs to Nangguang. She vows inwardly to shield the clan from all attacks, stunning Wu Tian. Her resolute face seems able to cleave obstacles. Her firm voice says she has chosen this life. Tuan Guo bites his lip, despairing. He trembles under the weights, saying hell collapse. Many others want to quit. Shuahua smacks Then Tian's hands with a stick as he strains. She encourages him just a bit more. Keep going. Tuan Guo grits out how much longer she breezes past like wind. He secretly blames himself for trusting the captain. He watches Minzhou do push-ups, said to be learned from a top master. The rear group fumes, calling it torture, saying that master is just a training-obsessed kid. Minzhou's arms shake, but he continues to 997. 998. Sweat drips on the ground at 999. His voice booms as he hits 1000. The whole group collapses. They pant, utterly spent. One approaches Minzhou, asking what he's doing. Shueihua asks if everyone is done. The man shakily confirms 1000, nearly fainting. She coolly calls it easy, making Minzhou grit his teeth. Seeing the exhausted group, she suggests adding back weights next time, leaving them speechless. She tells another group to add thigh weights next time, terrifying them. One objects, it's basically murder. Shueihua calmly says that level won't kill them. They all darken, wordless. They groan, calling her a demon, planning to rest. She suddenly says at this pace they'll soon be inner hall fighters. They freeze, asking if she's sure, arms crossed. She says strength must be forged. Minzhou ponders the powerful guests. Words can't be nonsense, there must be grounds or absolute confidence. The top-knotted man's spirit flares with a chance at inner hall. Hell, do anything. Shueihua asks if they'll keep training. He agrees boldly. Tuan Guo joins, while Minzhou holds his head. Many echo support. Minzhou thinks she ignores reality. He watches the girls back. He swallows, thinking no matter what, they can't bridge that gap. Shueihua shoulders a wooden sword. She signals to end class, seeing the fighters wheeze weakly. When they rise to thank her, she waves them off. They drag themselves away, wondering if they'll survive tomorrow. Tuan Guo rises and calls after her, respectfully thanking her. Wiping sweat, he sincerely thanks her for guiding them. She reassures him, saying to meet tomorrow at the Crimson Dragon Corps training yard. He's shocked it's theirs. She says calmly she'll leave this place. He misunderstands she's leaving for good, but she's only leaving the Iron Guest House to assume her Nangwang identity. She asks him to inform the group so they train safely tomorrow, making him deflate. Tuan Guo is grateful yet hesitant. Sadly, he admits he can't do it, confusing her. She asks why he bows, saying the inner hall isn't for people like them. He shares his fear. Big hopes bring big hurt, making her want to know more. He says plainly they lack family background. He watches the laughing fighters, recalling his decade-long dream of the inner hall. He remembers 3 failures, each time finding a reason to console himself and review his flaws. A flood of theories haunted him, from wrong posture to misunderstanding martial essence. After 10 crushing exam failures, he finally grasped the bitter truth. He learned from outsiders that rootless people like Nangwang Jibing are barred from the inner hall no matter their strength. So he lost faith in Nangwang, seeing deep factional rifts. He also learned the admission list was fixed before exams. Only then does Shueihua grasp his pent-up grievance. With the clan head undecided, selection depends on factions, not skill. The poor, unconnected, unsupported have no chance even if talented. Thus, exams become arenas for factions to seize power and insert their own. Shuhua can only sigh helplessly at the chaos. Tuan Guo urges her not to hope too high, but she cryptically says things will change, stunning him. She repeats it will change because she's here. He still doesn't get it, thinking how could her presence shift anything. She asks him to promise not to quit. He scratches his head, saying persistence is his strength, so no issue. She glares sternly, asking if he trusts her, making him panic to clarify. She quickly pieces things together. She can't untangle all clan messes, but must stand by this person now. She lifts her head, telling Tuan Guo earnestly to trust her this time. She resolves to help him reach the place long meant for him, giving a reassuring smile. The sun tilts as she and Qingyun return to Nangguang. He worries over her arm again. She softly repeats it no longer hurts. Qingyun laughs, blaming his own overthinking, but she sees unease on his face, as if hiding something important. He says today he'll inform the elders of her return, an event to celebrate. He assures her many strangers will be present, but etiquette is enough. He guides her into the grand hall, promising to stay behind her. Only now she sees why he's anxious. He fears the old foxes will trouble her. As the great doors open, she keeps considering him, not faulting his worry. Alone, she steps into the vast hall, meeting countless probing gazes. They follow her every step. She knows why those eyes cling to her. A girl who lost her memory and vanished 8 years is a stranger to them. Yet she knows how to make them withdraw, so she salutes Wu Tian to assert status. Hearing grandfather, he beams, recalling she once called him clan head. She bows, saying what's more daunting than power is fragile affection. She knows he sees her as family, so she admits she fears shed, not bear to part if she calls him so. Wu Tian is moved to tears. She feigns delicacy, asking permission to call him that. He slaps the seat, delighted to agree. He cheerfully comforts her, leaving her amused and helpless at his excitement. He says all will cherish her, just greet them properly. She replies politely. The first elder, stern-faced, praises her arduous return. The second, teary, says he remembers her childhood face. The third smiles, congratulating her intact mind as a blessing to the clan. Then a gentle man introduces himself as Nangguang Qi Bai, the discipline hall master, inviting her to visit when free. Next, a lively girl introduces herself as Su La, treasury hall master, thanking her for saving the clan 300 gold ingots. The next, Nangguang Yan, outer hall master, says he has met her before. Then the 5 leaders of other forces greet her in turn. Shui Hua glances over them indifferently, all smiling. But she knows not all those smiles are sincere. She wonders how many here are truly trustworthy. She decides she must judge them herself, slowly, without haste. Suddenly, Wu Tian rises, startling her. He steps down, declaring Nangguang has finally found its grandchild lost 8 years. He says he posted notices across the realm, and now must let the world know the good news. He places a tender hand on her shoulder. His voice echoes as he orders notices posted across Zhongyuan and the treasury open to spread the word. All below answer in unison. He proclaims with authority that enemies must know the child they sought is now under Nangguang's protection and tragedy will not repeat. All raise their heads, solemnly accepting. Wu Tian urges the hall to etch the 8-year pain and cherish today's joy. All obey in unison. She calmly looks down at the seats. They shout that this child will be the future sky of the martial alliance, and Shui Hua has returned. At Yunxiao Pavilion, the palace dazzles like a dream. Qingyun leads her to the new residence, slowly admiring falling flowers. She's surprised it's so spacious. He laughs, saying it was her aunt's favorite place. He adds it's Nangguang's finest spot, personally granted by her grandfather. She eyes a pure white flower with bright gold stamens, seemingly arranged for her. Then someone reports the steward, the Flying Wind chief, and the young master seek audience. Qingyun smiles, asking if they should enter. 2 irritated men stand at the door, each facing away. The steward snaps, asking why Flying Wind is here. He himself has special business. Flying Wind calmly says he just wants to visit the little girl. The steward complains about intrusion. Flying Wind says they're close, so it's fine. They argue. Flying Wind mocks him for being jealous. He's no longer near her. He teases further that if jealous of his closeness, he's already lost, enraging the steward. Qingyun arrives, asking why they're so cheerful. Both turn instantly. He brings Shui Hua, saying he should have come later to avoid disturbing them. The steward rushes to greet, saying the timing is perfect. He introduces himself as Nangguang Wen, clan steward. She greets politely. He says she may call him steward as before. She tilts her head, asking why this is happening. Before her sits a cart full of glittering treasures. Nangguang Wen explains it's the clan head's reward: gold, silk, jewels, and spirit medicines, astonishing her with its volume. He smiles, urging her not to refuse, for these are long overdue belongings. He rummages through, saying gold ingots need no inspection, just store them. He pulls out gold and silk, saying they even prepared clothes, so she needn't sew. She wonders what the fabric is for then. Next is a chest of spirit medicines with toxins reduced. Warning not to overdrink, she thinks it'll take months to finish. His hand touches a small box, saying what's inside will truly surprise her. The lid flips open. A stream of golden light shines out. Inside lies a dazzling, intricate hairpin. He says it's a treasure the clan had bought long ago, kept safe for her return. She stares, stunned by the masterpiece. Qingyun whispers the treasury master rarely yields. The steward says she wept before handing it over under the clan head's order. A voice notes she doesn't seem to like it. The steward snaps at Fei Feng for nonsense, but he insists her expression says otherwise. Fei Feng pulls something from his sleeve. He says this is what she truly likes. He offers a white-wrapped bundle to her. He beams, calling it a welcome home gift. Holding the box for her, he asks if she wants to open it. She unwraps instantly. A radiant sword appears. Seeing the weapon, she gasps. She asks if she may draw it. He says of course. Her hand trembles as she pulls it free. A cold gleam flashes along the blade. As it emerges, she evaluates its perfect balance. The blade shines like flowing water. Frosty energy spreads around. She's awed, no swing needed to know it's a rare famed sword. She asks if it's forged of cold iron. He confirms. She asks if it's truly for her, knowing how precious cold iron is. Fei Feng gently affirms, asking if she likes it. The steward watches jealously. He pats her head, saying her joy is enough. Then he laughs, saying it was once his own sword. She looks up, shocked. His voice softens, entrusting her to be its new master. His offer engraves itself into her mind, urging her to accept it. She immediately asks the sword's name. He says by Wan and Dian, it's Wan Dian, but she may rename it. Unable to resist, she asks to test it. He indulgently smiles, bragging he honed it all night for her. He tells her to test it in a private hall to avoid injury. She dashes off with the sword. The 3 watch. Fei Feng laments she never hears the whole sentence. He laughs, praising her flight-like speed, wondering who taught her. Qingyun looks to the steward. He sighs, saying her joy is his joy. The steward eyes the glittering loot, saying the clan head's intent is clear. Now he must think what to gift. He orders servants to move all items into her room. A man rushes in with news. He says a gift arrived for the young lady, asking if it should be placed in her room. The steward asks if it's only one item and who sent it. The man doesn't know. Hearing this, he grows wary. Barely 4 hours since the announcement, and a strange gift arrived, then vanished. He decides to inspect it first. Meanwhile, at the training hall, practice sounds echo. Shui Hua executes sharp sword arcs, wind splitting around her weightless body. Her steps flow like water. The hilt fits her grip perfectly. Every move is seamless. She leaps, slashing down with force. A smile blooms as if the sword was made for her. Leaves swirl as she lands. She grips the sword, light flashing, whispering, Wan Dian, 10,000 thunder. She lowers into a battle stance, believing the grand name suits it fully. Sweat falls as she feels power able to cleave anything. She subconsciously envisions a giant beast reaching its claws. Sparks flare like lightning, ripping air. She lets her body move by chi, as if a monster's hand presses down. A fierce awakening erupts within her mind. She charges, carving a cold sword path shaped by will. Raising the blade, she advances with chain strikes. She keeps unleashing sharp techniques nonstop. After warming up, she exhales in relief. She stands, muttering that the sword needs renaming. She reflects on it, shifting toward a meaning of full, encompassing force. Excited, she springs up and leaps high. She believes one sky-covering strike could shatter blood demon schemes. She swings the blade with force. Her cold gaze sees both a vast future and her foes. Elsewhere, a porcelain crash hits the floor. A woman sits at a desk, face heavy. She grumbles about the clan head's extravagant gifts. She lifts a cup. She drinks, displeased at the favor shown to the Grand Harris. She interrogates the kneeling subordinate. He says the young lady's return after 8 years is an honor. She was pampered before. Hearing this, she grips the cup and sets it down hard. He adds the sacred spiritual gift is priceless enough to make Xiao Long a peerless prodigy. She coldly replies, Xiao Long is already unmatched. He flatters that the young master's prowess forces the inner hall to train urgently. She mutters Xiao Long's potential needs no spiritry. He only echoes her. She asserts it must be proven. The subordinate is stunned. She steadies herself, drinks, noting only half a month remains till the grand rite. She asks if preparations are complete. He bows, saying all is ready. He reports every inspection from fighters to direct line properly arranged. She notes Xiao Long cannot transform dragon within that time. Her voice drops, ordering absolute prohibition of nurturing poison worms. Shui Hua broods, eyes weighted with unspoken trouble. On the table lies a wooden tag carved with symbols, tied with red cord and a gold bell. Wu Tian says someone brought it today as a gift for her. She asks if the courier has been caught. He says yes, but the man is innocent, just hired, truth confirmed by oath spell. Wu Tian says this item is unlike normal gifts, thus he summoned her. He suspiciously asks if she understands its meaning. She lowers her head, realizing her exposure was discovered quickly. She hadn't expected blood demon assassins to track her so fast. The token means they demand back everything of hers. Her cold voice signals an imminent death battle. She reasons it might be a warning about the fate of betrayal. Her tightening grip shows she knows it's a challenge. She moves to depart, but he stops her instantly. She insists it's her personal matter to settle. He answers firmly she belongs to Nangguan. The clan is duty-bound to shield her. She's shocked but wants to argue. He cuts her off, forbidding rebuttal. He says she cannot die without the truth being known. He tells her to stay alive, elders will handle the rest. The steward obeys. He moves to store the token in a wooden chest. Wen catches it with practiced ease. She calls to her patriarch, but guards block her at once. She fears the Shire Yue likely know mind suggestion. Mind suggestion aids grasping the shoe most intent without meeting. Nothing is gained. This is the only chance to exploit their flaw. Having an idea, she blurts she has a way. He forbids rash action, but she argues safety is enough. She asserts she can capture them without harm. She pleads for him to hear her plan. He sighs, defeated by her stubbornness. He permits it, wanting to hear the strategy. A scene appears, an old house of brown-white wooden tiles at mountain dusk. He leads to Yui Yun, sighing in worry as she looks up, puzzled. He gently scolds that any stalker around her unsettles him. He tears up, confessing the pain of loving his child. She is silent but inwardly resolute despite danger. She asks her father to teach her something. He agrees and asks what. She earnestly requests to learn the non-gong mind method. She insists on reinforcing inner power to absorb all non-gong arts. She wants rapid strength before facing Sher Yue. He urges waiting to train with the youths. She grips his hand, begging to start now. She coyly asks if he cannot teach her himself. He covers his face, defeated by her cuteness. Joyful, he lifts her and agrees to begin. The ancient room glows elegantly, wood carvings lit by lanterns. He will chant the formula and guide her inner power. He warns to remember the Kiflo path. She responds solemnly. He transmits energy, blue light spreading. Ordered chi streams enter her body. He explains this is the root of all non-gong arts. It is the method of receiving pure heaven chi. Thung Kung is the force enveloping the land. Breathing and sensing wind is sensing Thung Kung. Thung Kung exists around every person. Heaven-earth chi shifts endlessly in harmony. Tapping it is the core of the Nan Gong mind method. They meditate in a blue halo as he introduces the Great Heaven Vault derivation. She quiets, breathing deep. Chi in her chest stirs violently. Light swirls fiercely, blue energy ripping space. He urges her to feel each meridian. He keeps transmitting power. The space gradually calms. Under starlight, she senses chi weaker than his but pure. It flows like spring water through her. He quietly observes. He ends the session. He reminds that grasping Q paths needs patience. He is shocked seeing her self-circulate chi. He shouts to stop, fearing deviation. Suddenly, a radiance bursts from her. Alarmed, he frowns at the anomaly. The chi follows his route yet surges beyond bounds, filling the room. He grows more unsettled. He mutters whether she is unconsciously drawing others' force. He feels the abnormality intensify. His eyes widen at a strange flash. A violent burst of light stuns him. It roars like a long-starved beast of power. Soon, the chi disperses and she slowly wakes. Her eyes open, clear like spring water. He softly asks if it is finished. Surprised, he asks if she already knew the mind method. She says her father taught her. He asks if she copied after one viewing. He says she surpassed several tiers from a single observation. He explains the 12 cultivation tiers. Tier 10 is perfection, fully grasping the art. Tier 12 is true, great mastery and self-transformation. She exclaims in shock that normally reaching Tier 3 takes 1 or 2 years. He says achieving that alone makes her a prodigy. The chi level she showed was already Tier 3. What takes geniuses years, she did in 2 hours. She understands and replies. He tells her not to overthink it. He looks at her, thinking she is a rare talent. No, an unprecedented martial destiny. Footsteps sound outside. A cheerful voice calls, "Master." The boy asks if this is Hefei, the grand capital of Zhongyuan. Lao Men answers it is also the refuge of Sword Emperor Tianlong. Du Kang eagerly asks to meet the Sword Emperor or see the Nangong sword. He scolds that this is a congratulatory visit, not sightseeing. Du Kang jokes absurdly, making his master sigh. Lao Men snaps, asking where he learned such nonsense. Du Biao cuts in, reminding him to keep discipline and avoid trouble. He obediently agrees to his senior. He looks around excitedly, reassuring everyone. Lao Men hopes for a smooth trip and urges finding lodging. He lifts his hat and looks at the house ahead, then urges them on. Dusk falls as strange echoes rise. A carriage rolls through the street, stirring the scene. People whisper it is the Nangong carriage. The returned young lady sits inside. All know she is the girl missing for 8 years. The crowd is shocked. The young master is also present. They sigh in relief that Nangong is stable, bringing peace to the people. From afar, a fully shrouded figure appears. A mask and black garb hide all trace of humanity. Tu Yue Hua wonders if this bait is enough to draw the enemy out. She replies that otherwise the young master and patriarch's setup is wasted. Tap Fu Quan lifts his cup, sternly demanding the truth. He suspects she signaled the enemy, hence her certainty they will appear outside the city. She sets her chopsticks down, softly saying it's only conjecture. Du Oyu questions why the patriarch personally acts. She confirms it. Tap Fu Quan sneers. She is bold. Even the patriarch found no trace of the enemy. He suddenly bulges his eyes mid-sentence. He collapses, gripping the table as strength fades. Alarmed voices ask what happened. He realizes inwardly it is poison. He panics, unsure when the tea was tainted. Both girls freeze in shock. In pain, he whispers asking who struck. Then he slumps onto the table. He faints before the two. Tu Yue Hua rushes over, calling uncle. She checks his pulse. Du Yu blurts if she doesn't trust her. She says she knocked him out per their deal with herbs. Tu Yue Hua snaps that if he wakes it'll cause trouble. Du Yu says her part is done and wants to leave. She replies a promise is a promise. Du Yu suggests pretending to be poisoned asleep. She's teased as sly. She sits still, observing. Tu Yue Hua scales the wall and departs amid calls behind her. Du Yu asks if she intends to face the foe alone. Since the carriage bait isn't reliable, she says Tu Yu Hua cannot shoulder all chaos. Because of stubbornness, she keeps returning to fight, just don't get hurt. Finishing. Tu Yue Hua vaults from the first wall to the second. She glides like wind over seamless tiles. Leaves fall in every place she passes. Looking up, only sky shows through the forest canopy. She stops, spotting a suspicious sign, then flashes off, crossing the river. She picks an open patch of ground to stop. She stands still, eyes wide, watching. Under crossing leaves, she declares she will face the foe. She grips her sword, counting beats to react. Her cold eyes scan the whole area. A beam of light drops onto her blade. A sharp sword tip appears with a strange sound. She calmly blocks in an instant. Another object shoots from behind her. A barrage of throwing knives bursts before her. She slides long and dodges cleanly. She weaves through the knife rain with practiced skill. She thinks this technique must be from the one controlling Bi bow. Her hand stays firm on the hilt. A knife suddenly darts straight at her. She twists force, sending it deep into the forest. She lands light as mist. She stands tall, voice low, calling the foe out. The forest sinks into cold silence. A man steps out, mocking her as the same foolish little sect there. She formally greets him. He appears, nonchalant Po Yue. She asks why he's here. He blames her for leaving without a word. He admits he rejoiced when she was labeled a traitor. She coolly says she doesn't care. He points his sword, saying he wants to kill her himself. He sneers at her title and issues a challenge. He asks if killing her earns that position. She answers provocatively. He wonders if bringing her head back will win favor. A sword flash grazes her head. She scoffs inwardly. He is indeed terrifying and twisted. Anger flares, they charge into battle. Their blades lock, tension taut as wire. She gains speed, counterattacking hard. Her strike knocks Po Yue far back. She states she wants none of his warped affection. She says he can keep that nonsense. He roars, provoked. He shouts not to insult the sect master and boasts she lived thanks to that person. She growls, asking what he knows of mercy. He keeps yelling she's foolish and free to deny it. He claims she can't escape. Mind suggestion, merely a puppet. She thinks his blind loyalty makes extracting secrets impossible. Having decided, she calls his name. He answers instantly, declaring hell fight seriously. She signals the challenge, telling him to attack. They clash in fierce sword combat. His every strike is full force and relentless. She seeks a solution, unable to use grand forms at close range. She chooses to shrink her move radius to turn the tide. She unexpectedly parries his blow. She tilts her blade, breaking his angle and deflecting. As he closes in, she ducks in time. Her eyes cut sharp, tracking each motion. She accelerates, body flashing like lightning. Her sword blows grow clearly heavier. She reminds him he has repeatedly lost composure, slashing wildly. Yet this current strike of his is the weakest. Her calm remark makes Po Yue freeze. He exposes a gap she instantly closes into counter. He forces a stiff smile, asking what nonsense she's saying. She stares straight at him, ignoring his arrogance. He lunges, asking what she thinks this will change. She bats his blade aside. A streak of blood splashes near her. He warns wounds from his blood-chi sword heal poorly. Will she risk her life? He retreats, gritting teeth, ready to give up everything. He claims dying by blood arts is an honor. He growls for her to await death as her life force drains. He leaps, unleashing Soul Shatter Sword. She instantly slips away, vanishing from his strike. Twin blade flashes spark as she closes in from behind. The two whirl into a brutal clash. Both sides fight with full force. His blade ignites, aura surging. He curses her for charging straight into his sword zone. Blood seeps from her ankle where it was grazed. Her shoulder bleeds next. But her counterstrike is far stronger. She spins once to evade closely. Her face shows sharper resolve. She rushes in and kicks him. Both hands tighten on her sword as she lifts it. Her blade pierces his body. Blood spurts amid his furious curses. A heavy force slams him to the ground. In the dark woods, only his ragged breaths remain. Blood drenches the earth. Beneath him, he clutches his belly, convulsing in pain. The blood stain spreads wide on his clothes. He hisses he thought she played Bai Dao to enter Nangong. But she's merely a wolf between two factions. He snarls her, killing intent will leave her unaccepted anywhere. She grips her sword tighter at his words. She raises it, refusing to yield. Suddenly, he reaches into his robe. He throws out a pair of golden bells. She freezes, recognizing them. She retreats a step to avoid any reaction. Chi erupts around where he sits. Thick smoke blankets her sight. She covers her face. This is potent, stupefying incense. In moments, he vanishes into the forest. She curses in frustration. Only the severed bells remain on the ground. He darts at lightning speed through points in the woods. Clutching his wound, he runs deeper. He grits his teeth. Angry, his body reacts poorly to blood arts. A sword suddenly lunges, forcing him to flee wildly. The blade cuts in, severing one of his arms. He collapses, vomiting blood from agony. Po Yue, drained, crashes to the ground. He trembles, pulling a small knife from his pouch. He stabs it into the soil to brace himself up. His face pales, he can barely stand. Tu Yue Hua approaches calmly, scolding him for dropping things then running. She mocks him, recalling his prior life and death challenge. With the outcome decided, she won't hear more. Her hand nears him, making him panic. The first tap hits his shoulder point. Then a flurry of pressure points lands. Finally, two fingers press hard near his neck. Po Yue slackens, powerless. Yet he senses a strange bodily change. Seeing his severed arm, he notices the bleeding slow. Tu Yu Hua takes out an item, startling him. Holding a cloth piece, she says she'll spare him as he begged. Her face softens, she says she won't follow that person's wishes. What the blood fiend wants is not his death, he'd rejoice if she killed him. The fiend's passwords echo, claiming she will always be a killer of Hua Wai Lu. She realizes he planned Po Yu's death as a move. She tells him he must live to deliver a message. He asks what. She turns away coldly, saying she will not return. Now she lives like a non-gong sword, no longer his. Her light yet firm words declare them enemies henceforth. The silent forest sinks under heavy mood. Po Yu's regretful gaze follows her. He cherished her as a treasure, yet she left. And he fought to live for the fiend's notice, but was never chosen. Tu Yue Hua cuts him off, telling him to stop deluding himself. She stresses he's no different from her. Both are pawns the blood fiend casts into death for amusement. She rises calmly, stating they share the same fate. The only difference lies in when they're used and how they die. She takes something from her pouch, proposing they survive together. She raises the golden bells she picked up before his face. She reminds him not to pretend he used them. She slowly asks how to break mind suggestion. He shakes his head, claiming he knows nothing except they were a gift from Liao Chu Bao. She concludes the suggestion turns him into a wooden puppet. She knows the blood fiend would never reveal key secrets to a sure loser. She sighs, feeling her efforts wasted. Her vision starts to blur as she scans around. Her eyelids grow heavy as the sedative takes effect. She tells him to leave, treat his wounds, and relay the message. Po Yue is stunned to be spared. She walks silently deeper into the dark forest. Each step grows heavier. A strange sound echoes behind. Shang Yue appears and kills Po Yue without hesitation. His blood spreads as he collapses. He scolds him for always causing trouble. He turns to greet Tu Yue Hua, startling her. Shang Yue, once the blood fiend's trusted assassin, salutes her. His stern face addresses her as the master of Yin Yue. He bows, calling her little sect lord. He gently asks if the gift pleased her. She is stunned. Pointing at the corpse, he says he ruined the gift. He notes the order to release Shi Yi Yue Shi, that man had to die. As the cult leader's right hand, he asks her to relay through him. She scolds him for acting anyway. He asserts Nangong cannot compare to the cult leader. With Nangong's current strength, its far weaker cats can't fight tigers. She angrily rebuts. He sheathes his sword, saying she can return any time. She frowns, declaring she will not go back. He replies coldly that even if she won't, she cannot escape. The cult leader always gets what he wants. He says resistance is useless, acceptance is easier. His aura surges, a red serpent manifesting far stronger than before. She blames herself for underestimating him. Fierce blue chi gathers in his hand. He says loudly that without new orders, he will withdraw. Before leaving, he tells her to preserve her strength. In moments, he vanishes from sight. She keeps staggering through the dark forest. She thinks he deliberately let her go to test her ability. Though her pride is wounded, she's glad for more time against the blood fiend. She forces herself upright, heading for the Nangong estate. Her legs grow heavier as she advances. Sweat pours, pushing her to hurry back. Her vision blurs, but she sees a silhouette. Her knees buckle as strength leaves. Her body lightens and collapses. Lying sprawled, she still hears a faint voice. Her eyes stare toward one direction before closing. A panicked man approaches, fading from her sight. That person lay dead, blood spread beneath. She stands gasping before a mound of corpses. The blood fiend coldly urges her not to hesitate. She must give the enemy no hope of survival. Blood drips from his hand, warning her not to leave threats alive. He warns if she doesn't strike, she will die. She feels a leaf brush her nose. Her eyes open slightly as light floods in. She lies on the floor, covered by someone's robe. Clouds part, revealing new sunlight. She jolts up, realizing dawn nears and time is short. She notices a strange robe draped over her. She notes the red Hua Shan emblem but sets it aside. She realizes her wrists are tightly bound. Du Kang steps over, asking if she's awake. His face brightens, praising she looks better. He asks if she was cold while sleeping. She says she's fine. He sits, telling her not to nap randomly. She doubts his friendliness. She bluntly asks who he is, his stunned, and she asks if his master sent him. Arms crossed, he says his master doesn't know he sneaked out. He only meant to stroll, but got involved because of her. She doesn't understand and demands to be unbound. He refuses. He says she looks dangerous like an assassin and might cause trouble if freed. She instantly rebuts. He says she's not an assassin, but she was bloodied and unconscious on a mountain. She blankly asks if that still means no. He confirms no. She thinks if he feared her killing, why keep her alive? He says he meant to hand her to authorities but realized who she is. He points straight at her. She frowns at the gesture. He excitedly asks if she is the non-Gom young lady. Her brows tighten in irritation. She coldly says if he knows, then stop joking. He denies joking. He laughs awkwardly, saying he checked her robe for impurities and waited to confirm her cultivation. He reasons if she were an assassin she'd have killed herself. She angrily demands release. He panics and agrees to untie her. She is finally free and comfortable again. He apologizes for the rude act. He straightens his robe, claiming all is explained. He asks her to forgive his discourtesy. She suddenly surges forward, striking toward his face. He flips away as a blue force grazes past. Du Kang's body arcs swiftly in the air. Dust rises, the power of her strike cracked the ground. He is summoning defensive force. His face pales, asking what technique she's using. He strains to erect a barrier. Her eyes sharpen, readying a decisive blow. Her wrist traces agile, illusion-like arcs. Du Kang mirrors the art with his own technique. Bluer energies clash violently. Their distance is nearly point-blank. Her inner force drives straight forward. Du Kang is shoved back, struck in the chest, has flung far, slamming into a tree. He coughs nonstop, clearly pained. Blood at his lips, he still grins. Suddenly excited, he praises her strength beyond imagination. She dusts her hands, coldly asking again. He reacts in awe. She reminds him that knowing her identity means he must explain. He nods, asking why she didn't say so earlier. He names himself Liu Kuang, grand disciple of Hua Shan, honored to meet her. She calmly asks why a Hua Shan disciple is here. He says that's secret. She frowns, thinking Ho Shan arrives sooner than expected. He trembles, begging her to speak for him to his master, fearing a beating. She walks off, fully aware of his aim without hearing it. He runs after her, demanding credit for covering her with the robe. She replies indifferently that anyone would have done the same. She says she is unfit to save anyone. But shall remember the favor come to Nangong if needed. She stands on a cliff, looking at the village below. He asks if he'll meet her at Nangong. She nods. He eagerly begs to duel her, dreaming of matching Jian Jing Tian. She coldly refuses. He asks why. She smiles softly, saying if he wants to duel. Then gently yet firmly tells him to get stronger first. A flare of light bursts before Du Kang's eyes. A glyph of light forms under his feet for an instant. His fingers tremble, still confused. Before him, she has vanished completely. His cheeks redden, too cool. At the main gate, 2 guards stand rigid. The long-haired one peers afar. The top-knotted one asks why. He says it seems the young lady. The other doubts because she looks too battered. The guard pales and shouts the young lady has returned. Her steps are slow but steady entering. Tension spikes the moment she appears. Many stare, stunned speechless. She reeks of blood head to toe. She stands before the elderly clan lord. Their eyes meet. She does not flinch. Hands clasped, she bows and reports her return. Before her is Wo Tian. She calls him grandfather. He stays cold, expressionless. The room is dim, brown and oppressive. Wu Tian slowly states, Fai Fang's sword and the Wai Medicine Hall master both slept under a spell without resisting. The tea drinker with them vanished, the scene too clean to call abduction. He asks if she has anything to confess. She admits deceiving everyone to avoid implicating them. He says if others could be hurt, so could she. What she can do, others can help with. His eyes bear Nan Gong's heavy sorrow. He asks if she still trusts him. She averts her gaze, saying she had to bear it alone had have stopped her otherwise. He says stopping her is only to protect her, shaking his head faintly. She says she didn't return to hide. Hiding won't solve the blood fiend. She insists she came back to fight. He reacts in alarm, denying it. She predicts the fiend will choose another Nan Gong child as assassin, letting Nan Gong self-destruct. She's ready for punishment if it calms them. But she clenches her fists, begging not to be restrained again. She vows shall live, fight fully, and minimize harm. He closes his eyes, sighing in worry. Rising, he scolds her for speaking of death so lightly. He knows she won't relent, but as clan, lord, and grandfather, he must protect her. He cannot confine her, so sets 3 conditions. She stands still, listening closely. First, never lie again, and never hide things from elders. Report to him before acting. Second, always take guards with her. As she is only 13, she must be protected until grown. Unless she reaches super peak level, she sighs and agrees. He places a hand on her shoulder for the third. He promises not to beat or starve her, regardless of events. She widens her eyes in surprise. He says never beg for harsh punishment. Punishment teaches, not harms children. He gazes at her with deep compassion, telling her to trust him. He earnestly urges her not to shoulder everything alone. Her eyes glisten, cheeks tinted pink. He adds that as much as she cares for Nan Gong, he cares for her. They are family. Her small hand lifts. She gently touches his robe for support. She bows, softly calling grandfather. Her lips tremble as she quietly asks for protection. Nan Gong's garden lies silent, somber. Wu Tian walks, face full of thoughts. Cheng Yun asks about Tu Yue who has condition. Worry shows plainly in his eyes. He answers she's only lightly hurt and should rest. He tells him he should rest too after the urgent trip. He says he has something important to report. Rumors in the clan begin criticizing Shuehua. They accuse her of approaching to steal manuals, though the truth is vague. Wu Tian props his chin and tells him to speak clearly. Cheng Yun explains people believe the rumors as if they saw them firsthand. Very few actually witnessed the 2 division heads fainting. Yet mere guesses have thrown the whole clan into chaos. Wu Tian agrees one day of disappearance shouldn't cause such hatred. While searching for people who would have time to spread such rumors, he concludes someone is deliberately stirring things up. Cheng Yun, solemn, says that's why he wants to find the culprit. Wu Tian says Shuehua has chosen to move forward. He declares they must empower her for the road ahead. He orders Cheng Yun to take the clan head position. He stresses that with enough authority, he could have crushed the rumors. Cheng Yun replies, he left the post 8 years ago and can't close the gap easily. Wu Tian says hell, give him only half a year. In half a year, at the young clan head inauguration, he must prove himself. If his standing remains as weak as now. With Cheng Yun tense, he says hell, give the clan head role to someone else.